Hi, everyone. Welcome back for season 2 of the Leasing Highway. We're super excited to be back. Leasing Highway is a podcast dedicated to the heartbeat of the apartment industry. And for this season, we're super excited to be partnering with the Apartment Association of Metro Denver. The AAMD represents over 250,000 apartment units in Denver and is back in person with networking events like this Thursday's Power Lunch. And events like the chili cook-off and golf tournament and charity auction. Visit aamdhq.org to see what the Apartment Association has coming up, and we'll link to that in the show notes as well.
Ian, I'm so excited for season 2. I'm Karen Gladney, everyone, and your co-host with Ian, and really, really honored today because we actually are joined by one of AAMD's past presidents, 2019 and 20, Scott Kirkwood, Regional Vice President for Griffis Blessing. And Scott, oh my gosh, thank you for being episode 1 of season 2. And we'll let you introduce yourself. And just as a piggyback to introducing yourself, share how you got into the industry, other than hearing how people met and for their marriages. I think hearing how you got into the industry is the other most fun question to answer. So share a little bit.
Sure, absolutely. Hello, everybody. It's great to be with you. Karen, thanks for the invitation. Really, it sounds like an interesting event. Hopefully we get to know each other a little bit better at the end of the podcast. But as you said, my name's Scott Kirkwood. I'm a regional vice president with Griffis Blessing. I oversee the Denver market for Griffis Blessing, Denver and the surrounding states. Griffis Blessing is they're a developer, they're a property owner, they're a property manager and fee manager for other clients, mostly in the state of Colorado along the Front Range. But we've got new developments going on at DIA, in Glenwood Springs, Grand Junction, and we own some property in the Kansas City market. I first got involved with the apartment industry in kind of a roundabout way. I was working, when I got out of school, I went to work for a construction management group, a developer who developed multifamily, also developed single family. And I was working on their single family, one of their projects, and got the opportunity to do some construction improvements on a portfolio of subsidized property in Northeast Denver. And so it was like the 5 Points area.
Wow.
And at that time, there was some unrest in those neighborhoods. These were all subsidized properties. Some of the buildings had been vacant for years. And I worked with a HUD grant to renovate those buildings. And some of those renovations are still standing today. I can drive by. My wife's heard it 100 times. Oh yeah, there's that building. But as part of that work, I got involved in their maintenance department and their property management group. And I realized that I really enjoyed the property management aspect of this. And so I transitioned away from the construction management to property management, and then things just exploded from there. So that's how I got in. It's actually, that's one of my favorite jobs. It didn't pay much, but it was one of my favorite jobs as I look back through my career. Some of the work we did, I just really felt helped contribute to the overall, to the neighborhood in general.
Yeah.
And I took very much pride in all of that. So
That's amazing. I want to even throw you a question to take it back even a step earlier and say, what did you want to be when you grew up? Looking at when you first were looking at what to do, and what was that aspiration for you?
RVP of Griffis Blessing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly
No,
you're exactly right. Everything did ultimately lead to Griffith's Blessing, which it's kind of ironic. But my dad was a criminal attorney, and so when I was going to school, that was kind of my goal. Was I thought I was going to be an attorney, and but when I left school, the construction industry was the biggest thing going, and it's where you could make a lot of money, and so that's where I ended up going.
But an attorney was in the vision at one point.
Oh yeah. My dad was the assistant district attorney up in Adams County when I was growing up, and so
oh my goodness,
we had a lot of insight into that, and so he was on both sides of it, and in the Denver area, and so I have my strong deep roots in the Denver area because of that.
Yeah, that's fascinating. All right, well, let's talk a little apartment industry. Scott, what would you say, because you've gotten to see changes from, the 5 Points area to what that area is like today, and that's, there's changes all over the industry across the country. What changes and evolutions have you seen most in your time in the industry? And, just as a follow-up to that, after you answer that, what also have you seen stay the same?
Sure. So it's interesting because you bring up a great point about the redevelopment of neighborhoods, and what a great change that's been. Who would have ever guessed that lower downtown Denver was going to evolve and the Rhino district was going to evolve?
No.
I used to go to a plumbing warehouse, a supply yard, where there's now apartment buildings. And,
Yeah.
just that whole Rhino district, and you just can't say enough about the redevelopment. You saw the same thing happen in Portland and in Seattle, South Lake Union in Seattle, or the Pearl District in Portland, and to me, those are great success stories that we in this industry can take great pride in rejuvenating those neighborhoods. But certainly the evolution of software systems. When I first started, we were doing things by hand with a pegboard, and software systems have certainly evolved. Marketing has changed a lot. From a print advertising now to video, and who would have ever guessed that we would all become video producers as you have become.
So true.
Yeah. So so there's been a lot of change over time with those types of systems. But when you say that, the thing that holds true throughout my experience is the customer service experience that our residents feel in the apartment industry, and our clients. As I'm working now with Griffith's Blessing for clients who own property, we've got to provide them customer service both up and down in this business. And so that to me is the key to everything. And then the key to providing customer service are the employees that I work with every day. And developing that team is, for me, the most important thing that I have done. And some of the longstanding relationships that I have with people, I've known them, recruited them as leasing consultants, and see them now evolve into regional managers or training directors, or people that have become business owners. And actually many of my peers have now since retired. They've developed their companies, sold their companies, and are now retired. So it's just the development of all the people in the industry is really satisfying.
It is really neat to see the paths that I don't think anybody that's not in our industry realizes, the career paths that there are. And then too, your comment on customer service, I think that's so so important. And everybody talks about customer service as it relates to our residents and our prospects. But I love what you said too, just about the clients, the owners of these apartment communities as well. I think that's such a great point.
Yeah, I think too, it's, you know, in this industry too, and I mean, all industries, everyone's always so focused on the future and the changing. Just like you said, you know, we're seeing, you know, areas that were once factories now becoming apartments, and you get to see the change in the industry, and same thing with that technology side, the evolution, and sometimes with that we can forget about some of those fundamentals that are important. And you know, curious from your side, you know, what are those things that we need to get back to? I know you mentioned customer service. Is that something that you think we really need to that the industry needs to get back to some, or is there anything additional to on that side of things?
Well, it's interesting to see how customer service has also evolved with technology. And you know, if we can now, if a customer doesn't want to take the time to come into the office and you know, they can do everything virtually, or you know, you can pick up a key at the front door and go see the model at 7:00 at night. If that's the type of service that they ask for, we can provide that. If they need the COVID situation is kind of reminds us all that we do need each other. We do need to know each other. We do need to help each other. And I think it's a great example where the business was becoming more autonomous over time. And then it kind of jerked us right back to, you know what, I guess I do need that person. And I do need a little help here. I did lose my job because of COVID. And maybe I do need a little support and help me through this process. And I think people had to expose themselves a little bit more, you know, on the customer side of things than they were more comfortable with in the past. And you know, I'm actually pleasantly surprised by how we've kind of come through this COVID situation. And we've been able to protect our customers on the resident side, and we've been able to protect our customers on the owner side as well. I think we're starting to see the end of it. Every time I think we're there, we keep getting another 30-day extension, but it seems like we came through the pandemic in pretty good shape.
Our industry as a whole really has been resilient, you know, and adaptable, and that's been really marvelous to watch. So you make a great point. Let's everyone, we're going to take just a 30-second break here, and we'll pick back up with Scott on the other side. We'll be right back.
Welcome to your beautiful new apartment home here at Eagles Point 14. As you can see, we're featuring this beautiful one-bedroom den.
All right.
Hey everyone. Yeah, well, welcome back. Yeah, you know, we're just talking about just the resilience of the industry, and just wanted to, you know, comment too. I, you know, one thing I just think is always so amazing with it is, like, you know, we have all this technology and everything in place to help automate us, but when COVID really hit, and even coming out of it, I think, you know, the part that resonated with me the most is just how much, you know, our teams matter. And when it became time to actually act quickly, they got it done. It didn't matter, you know, yeah, they had some cool technology in place. Yeah, there was, you know, obstacles, but they, you know, they'll find a way. And I think we really saw that happen across, you know, the entire industry, where everyone handled it different ways, but everyone was just so adaptable in our teams to really take a quickly changing environment and to a really positive one. So thought that was
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, I agree. So, I think with anybody you talk to in their industry, their career, people have fond memories, and there's always challenging times. But could you share some of your fondest memories throughout your career so far?
So it's interesting as I thought about that question. I go back to the people that I've worked with. I've worked for some pretty large organizations. When I first got in the business, I was an assistant vice president, which I went home, told my wife, "Hey, I'm now an assistant vice president." I was one of 66 assistant vice presidents in the company I worked for, which was Southmark Johnstown Management back in the day. But as that company evolved, and we, I met many different people throughout those years. But we did some retreats with our group, and one retreat was this. It was called Possum Kingdom down in Texas, and that was when cell phones were first opening up, and so. But you couldn't get cell service at Possum Kingdom, so we had to go out there, and we were actually isolated for about 3 days. And that core team, that core group of people, really bonded together. And I could call any one of those individuals today, and if I lost my home, for example, I could count on they would find something for me. And those folks have become lifetime friends, and that to me is kind of the mark of the industry. And I think about the last board retreat that we had was at the Stanley Hotel up in Estes Park, and we took a trip into Rocky Mountain National Park, and to me those are great memories, and it's all about the people and bonding with other people in the industry. And the core executive team, again, those are people that I feel like I could give a phone call to, and they would help a person in need. And so those bonding experiences, I really think are some of my fondest memories. And then I go back to the business part of the industry, and at the time, Ian, we sold the Parkway Center, which when it was first conceived, it was all together. It was a commercial office building, it was a King Soopers shopping center, and it was 1,000 apartments that included some townhomes. And I worked with a core group out there together, and almost every single person who was involved in that project is now at some executive level in the industry. And so we kind of carved that property up, sold it off in pieces, and it was at the time the largest sale that ARA had ever done in Denver. And so that's a great memory. I also did a renovation on a building in downtown Seattle, in Belltown, Seattle. And it was supposed to be like an exterior paint job. It was a stucco sided building, and we got into it, and $3 million later, we finished a totally new, we had to reskin the entire property. And I'll never forget, we wrapped the building in scaffolding and then put plastic over the scaffolding so that they could work throughout the year. And when we got to the north side of that building, the moisture had gotten into the wood, and literally, I'm not sure how the building was standing. We had windows that were out of square by at least an inch across a 2-foot window. And we brought that building back, did it right, and that building is a great building today, and repositioned it for the next 20 years. So that's one. And then, some of the sales I've had with Griffis Blessing are, we've seen our clients really benefit from our management, and we put a property improvement strategy in place. We go through that property improvement strategy, and we come out on the back end with great returns for our investors. And so that to me is what it's about. All at the same time, the common thread providing that strong customer service to residents, improving their lives, improving their properties, and really improving our neighborhoods. So that kind of is a common theme throughout. So
I remember the Parkway. That was like when I graduated from CU Boulder, that was where everybody just mass moved from Boulder to Denver to the Parkway. It was like the dorm rejuvenated.
Well, I mean, Friday afternoon club at the Parkway was something else. Hazel Miller in the pool at Parkway. I mean, you can't hardly beat that. And, I'm not sure that we can duplicate some of those experiences.
Yeah, too good.
Absolutely. We always say that pretty much everyone in this industry, especially if you're in it for long enough, could write a book, and someday we're gonna get that put together from everyone about some of those greatest stories. I mean, would love to hear a little bit more about some of those OMG moments. But let's take another quick break here, and then we'll get to that on the other side.
Introducing Remote Lock Universal Access Control. Remote Lock lets you manage any lock, from smart locks to hardwired access control systems, securing every door from the main entrance to the rooftop patio. And you get to choose from the best top-of-the-line smart locks out there, from brands like Yale, Schlage, Kwikset, August, Mercury, and many more. Now you can configure and add access at the push of a button and set up customized schedules for each and every user, all within a matter of minutes. It even works with property management and booking software like Airbnb, Guesty, Entrata, RealPage, and more. With Remote Lock, you'll finally have a future-proof solution that controls all your properties around the world from a single, easy-to-use platform. Let Remote Lock be the last access control partner you'll ever need.
Welcome back, everyone. We were just hearing about some of those memories that you have, Scott, and curious. I know you talked a little bit about your experience up in Washington there, but curious on what are any of those OMG moments that you had on a property? Anything that really stands out as something you'll remember from that side?
My thoughts go immediately to some of the maintenance situations that we've seen, and I gotta say, some of our maintenance people are everyday heroes in what they have to deal with, and we managed the building on North Washington Street, and we had to get into the crawl space, and just OMG what we found in the crawl space. Bubble gum and duct tape and baling wire and all of those things we found in that crawl space. But some of the stuff you see with maintenance with mold and asbestos, and just some of the challenges that our maintenance teams have to deal with in providing that customer service and trying to make the best out of the situation. They do it almost every day.
Yeah.
So to me, aside from a building wrapped in scaffolding, wrapped in plastic, which again, we had to manage through that, and occupancy never dropped below 85% in that building, believe it or not. But that I get back to our maintenance teams, and I've got so much gratitude to our maintenance teams and our service managers, and I think everybody listening to this broadcast that has to manage a maintenance team understands how important they are to our success.
Yeah, it's so well said. So I want to take us just a step away from the industry a little bit and give people a peek behind the door of Scott's life when you're not at work. Could you? And I have a little bit of a giggle because I know just the slightest glimmer. I'll never
You've heard a few rumors.
You showed up for a meeting, and this was the best, truest meeting or reason for not being on time. And Scott showed up, and he goes, "Sorry about that. My cattle got loose."
That's right.
What? So what is your life like, Scott?
Well, I've had a couple of situations, but my wife Linda and I live a rural lifestyle. We live out in Elizabeth. We live on a 40-acre spread. We've got a barn with horses, and I raise Angus cattle for fun. But one of my great stories was I was taking the trash out one day, and I heard clickety clack, and I think this might be related to your story, Kim. And I kind of looked up and I said, "That looks like Bo," and it was a horse running down the street. I'm like, how in the heck did he get out? So I had to go catch him and bring him back. And I was late to work that day. But most of the time we manage our lifestyle pretty effectively. And I'm lucky enough that Linda works from home, and so she can help with a lot of that. But yeah, when we got married, we decided that we would live a rural lifestyle, and we started to buy animals. And I people that are close to me know I've got a freezer full of beef, and I actually donated some beef to the charity auction last year, so everybody got a great deal. The charity got a great deal, and the folks that purchased beef from me also got a great deal. So that's what I do on the side. Aside from volunteering for apartment association events, I also was a planning commissioner in Douglas County for 7 years, and so I take great pride in that. Again, giving back to the community, trying to find ways to do that. And in my younger days, I was also a Little League baseball coach. I did that for 10 years.
That's awesome.
So those are some fond memories. But I think everybody likes the idea that now that we're into this kind of Western lifestyle, and I tell all the folks that I work with here, and many of us live in and around Castle Rock, but the Elizabeth Stampede every first weekend in June is just a great event. It's just about 10 miles east of town, and it kind of is a window into that lifestyle, and great fun.
That's cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing how much you've accomplished in your career, and then to do so much on the side and contribute so much to the community is just unbelievable. So super excited to hear about it. We're running low on time and want to get back to our kind of walk-off home run question that we had for season 1 that we asked every single person who joined the show, and excited to hear your answer. And that is, what advice would you give to someone just starting out in the industry?
Well, first of all, I have to say this is a great industry for people at all levels. I think that an individual can find success at so many different levels, whether I'm an entry-level groundskeeper trying to find an opportunity on the maintenance department, or I'm starting out as a leasing consultant. The sky is the limit as far as how far you can advance your career. And I just think that there are opportunities, there's stability and opportunity at all levels. And for me, that's what was important. A big contributing factor to why I chose to make my career in property management. And it's so rewarding, and I think individual performance will be rewarded. You hold yourself to a high standard, and I guarantee you will find success.
Couldn't agree more. Scott, you're the best. We have questions that we didn't even get to, and it actually breaks my heart because there are some other ones that we really wanted to know. So maybe we'll just have another episode 2 with Scott down the line here. And thank you for your time, Scott. Thank you for trusting us with your voice and your story and sharing it with everybody in the industry. You're one of the top people, and we just we genuinely appreciate you. And everyone, that's a wrap for episode 1 of season 2. We'll be back live next week, Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain and noon Eastern. And you can see Scott's podcast here, guest appearance on YouTube and LinkedIn Live and Facebook, even after the show. So thank you, everybody.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Scott.
Thanks for having me. Great half hour. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.